Good afternoon, everybody. I'll be talking about putting everything that Christian has said in practice, basically. So there's a second opportunity to go through this. Very happy to be here. My name is Mieke van de Capelle. I'm the head of HR for a perfume and taste company called FIRMENICH. You may not have heard of us because we're a business-to-business company, but we're firmly believing that 4 billion out of 7 billion people in the world have something from us every single day that they use. So there's a pretty big chance that you're wearing our perfume, that your shampoo is made by us, and that what you ate right there over lunch contains some of our ingredients. So we are with you. Just to give you one only slide on what it is that we do as a company. So we're the world's largest private perfume and taste company. We have 8,000 people around the world. We're a chemistry company, which is, we're in very hard chemical science, but we're also going through quite a lot of transformation as our business is evolving to a lot more demands from consumers to have natural ingredients in what we do. We invest close to 400 million every single year in research, which is a critical lifeline for us. And you see lots of other numbers here on the slide, which shows that we're a business with a purpose. We're actually 125 years old this year. And the reason why I say this, why this is relevant, is that if as a company we want to live for another 125 years, upskilling is going to be critical for us to stay relevant in the industry. So artificial intelligence basically comes back across every single element defining our business today. So we source, right? We source tons and tons and tons of raw materials that go into your perfumes, that go into your food from all over the world. And basically artificial intelligence is becoming a lifeline for us to understand when the crops are going to be able to get harvested, which are then helping us to make choices on our inventory planning, making sure that we can actually have the ingredients available for use. So it is critical for us in terms of capability and the work that we do at source and with our suppliers. But also in creation. Today, the perfume that you're all wearing is made by perfumers, and some of it is made by master perfumers. But a lot of the perfumes tomorrow will have to be made using artificial intelligence. We will not need a perfumer anymore to design a perfume. And I'll come back on the fact whether that will leave a mark on many people, whether they say, is my job going to go away? I'm firmly convinced that that is not the case. But we will have creation augmented by artificial intelligence for flavors as well as for perfumes. Also for our sales and our marketing people, with the fragmentation that we see in consumers, artificial intelligence is becoming a critical element for them in making choices on how do I market my products, to which consumers do I need to communicate, what is the road to market that I need to follow. But also in research. So far we've been focusing a lot on the receptors in our nose and everywhere else in the body when it comes to creation of solution and the research around it. But there's very high probability that the digital nose is going to be something that is going to be governing our industry, sooner rather than later. Operations and support, I think you've all heard about this, how artificial intelligence come back in planning and forecasting. And ultimately, it comes back to the end consumer for whom personalization is absolutely critical. Me as a consumer, I'd love to have a perfume that is reflecting my genetic code, that is reflecting my interest of the things that I like to smell, and that is made for me, for Mieke. And that is not the same as the one that is made for a million other users of the next CK2, for instance. So across our industry, artificial intelligence is extremely prevalent. And so when we are looking back at, okay, what does that mean for the way that we do our jobs, for the way that we hire our people, for the way that we upskill our people, it's coming across basically every single function in the company that is getting confronted to different demands to make sure that we stay relevant. So what is the responsible thing to do? We're a family company, we live 125 years, we focus a lot on our values. And okay, a lot of people ask us, are you going to be one of these companies that is going to be in the newspaper saying that on the one hand you're letting go thousands of people and on the other hand you're opening the other door and you're making other thousands of people coming in because you need different skills and the ones that you currently have, they turn out to be obsolete. So For us, the element of providing upskilling, right? And I think, to be honest, without wanting to take any credit, but I think we've been using that word actually before it became a bit fashionable. But upskilling for us has been a means to tell our people, look, as a family business, we want to take care of you, right? And it's part of how we want to invest in the future, not just for the sake of the business, but for the sake of the people that drive it. So we made it an integral part on how we communicate about why there is a need for learning, for revision of what we do, and what we put into practice. So how did we go about that? We started by telling our people, look, at the end of the day, as a business-to-business company, we don't make any products ourselves. We don't have any brand ourselves. Our entire relevance as a company depends on the thousands of clients that buy products from us. So when we start from our customer and their need, we need to rethink how we operate our business. But for the employees, we built everything around the notion of employability. I very much believe that driving a debate around employability is a more realistic way of approaching the debate around upskilling versus saying terms like, I'm going to augment you as an employee. There was something that was said earlier today, for those of you who were here this morning. The speaker from the European Union, he said, you know, for many people, their jobs are their identity. And I believe that. I very firmly believe that. And I think it's a little bit arrogant of companies to come in and say, we're going to augment you as a human being and as an employee. We've been augmented and through evolution, you know, the last thousands of years all along. Certainly things are going faster right now, but to me it is about making this part of a reality that we continuously have the responsibility as employers to make sure that we help people along the way in staying relevant for the labor market. I can't guarantee the 8,000 people that they're going to work with us until they retire, but I can guarantee, and it is our obligation to guarantee, that when they leave the company, they have skills that will be relevant for the next and the next and the next company. And that is the value proposition that I believe we in HR should very actively make towards our people. Now, how did we go redesigning what it is that we need to be upskilling? Because we can all talk about it, we can all intellectually decipher how everything is changing, but it doesn't make it very easy to say, where the hell do I start in defining what skills for which roles that I need to be reviewing as an organization? So 3 years ago, a couple of people in our organization had the foresight of creating an integrated design thinking group in the company. So we built these skills intrinsically and we used them across hundreds and thousands of team members basically, to have debates around the evolution of the business and the job. So we sat on a lot of data where we said, okay, you may be doing this now, but if you imagine yourself in 2030, what is a client going to ask from us? What are they going to want and what are they not going to be needing anymore? So we entered into a really intrinsic dialogue across all different parts of the world, talking to many, many individuals and having employee touch points on, imagine your job in 2030, what is the essence going to be of what will be asked for you that will be relevant for the client? And with that, we started co-creating. Because it is important that we don't sit in this, I don't know if many of you here are in the HR field, but the least thing to do, in my opinion, is make this an HR topic only. This is a company strategy topic of defining what is your customer going to be needing forward and what does it make us having to respond to that. So we engaged in co-creation sessions. We discussed, okay, if we no more going to be needing perfumers for certain perfumes, if we're no more going to be needing flavorists, if basically we're going to be sending your next perfume via your device directly to you rather than through the traditional channels, what does it mean for the skills that everybody will need to have? And so we took this step by step across every single one of the activities that we do to basically land with a very interesting conclusion. And that is that today, in our company, worldwide, we have no less than 330 job families, but tomorrow we will only have 19. And why is that? Because when we go back to the essence of how our industry is evolving and the core skills that will be required, both people skills, technical skills, digital skills that are required, we can actually bundle them in 19 families. And whether you're a part of that family, it will be what today would be maybe 15, 20 different jobs. Tomorrow that is one family, and everybody has very same core of key skills that that person will need. So this is what for us, the FIRMENICH world will look like. Our future of work is a galaxy. Christian, I heard you talk about how, you know, for many companies, they need to blur the lines horizontally. We've actually turned them into a circle. For us, you know, the ends, they meet. And it starts with the customer, and it starts with people that build solutions for the client and people that build solutions for other people, governed by ethics, integrating sustainability across everything that we do, and focusing on strategy and innovation. And then there is a list of roles around that that all require dedicated people skills, technical skills, digital skills. Now, the beauty of this galaxy for us is that when you're part of one of these planets, I would call it, your horizon is much broader than what it is today. You know, Christian, you were talking about you're doing payroll, you're doing recruiting, you're doing, you know, all these small things. We're bundling this so the people who do recruiting tomorrow can actually find themselves with the people that are selling perfumes or flavors in the market, because they will require very similar skills to be successful in their job. And so when we start from our galaxy, now we start defining for every single one of them what is required in terms of skilling. So this is when the rubber hits the road. What we needed very much is to really think in a disruptive way. We could not have come to the essence of our galaxy without really challenging the way that we look at our business going forward. So if any of you wants to put this in place in your company, I would really encourage you to secure that you blend people from different levels, from different functions in the organization together, and use really strong design thinking methodologies to avoid that you're recreating what it is that you already know today. It is very important to start from imagining a way of working where you can do really expansive thinking to then drill it back to the essence. But make employees in charge. Nothing is as, I think, patronizing and as ineffective as companies saying, I know what you need for your employability and you will need this and this and this. Make your employees in charge of defining what their job will look like. Because again, I'm one of those people, I identify with my job. And I think if we're honest, many of us here, they will admit to the fact that they're identifying themselves with their jobs. It is the case for many of our people. Many of our people, when in a comfortable environment, they'll be able to say, I know how my client is changing. I know how my research is changing. I know how my job is changing. Involve the people directly in the debate. It can very much help with, you know, thinking broader and understanding really what skills will not be that relevant anymore and which one will be really important. Inclusiveness, but also a promise of employability. Again, we made that really explicit to people, and we keep spreading that message. Some people hate it, honestly, when we say it, that we cannot guarantee that we will offer jobs until they retire. But I can make that commitment to say that when you leave FIRMENICH, you're going to be employable because you will have skills that are transferable. But now the rubber hits the road, because now we need to do exactly what Christian described, which is now we have our 19 families. We know which core skills we have in each and every one of them. We need to make sure that we also have the technical capability of understanding who has which skills in the company, and that today we don't. And I feel, Christian, you and I met about 30 minutes ago, but I feel you've said a lot of things that are relevant to our reality today. We're a SuccessFactors SAP shop, and we don't have solutions today that basically capture the potential and skills of our 8,000 people around the world. We simply don't have it. I have to look it up at LinkedIn if I want to know some more from some of my own people. So then think about, oh my God, how do I know what the capability gap is inside my company if I want to look at who do I need to prioritize in terms of skill building? So that will be our next important milestone, which is to really make, start from the 19 families, from the 19 planets, and say, who fits in which one, the skills that I need to have, and then how do I, at an individual basis, start thinking about What skills does that individual have? Where do I need to develop? Where do I need to prioritize? And then I can start tailoring and I can start bundling that together. It will be a massive exercise, but it is a company responsibility for us to do. There is no way of not doing it. I also don't believe in the fact that things will kind of solve themselves as they go along. I'm personally pretty much convinced that organizations that will be ready for the pace of change, particularly in our industry, which is facing such an amount of disruption and consolidation, unless we do this process well, systematically, and with an openness to imagine that nothing that we hold sacred, imagine a perfumery company thinking that there may not be a perfumer anymore in the way that we know it today. If all the things that we hold sacred can be put up for discussion and scrutiny, we will really be able to understand, okay, what does it mean in terms of helping our employees evolve to the very next level? But that intelligence tool is critical for us, and we have to take small steps. This can't be done in a year, this can't be done in 2 years. We will need to segment, choose our battles on the types of skills that we need to be developing first, and awareness building in the organization will be critical. And so we're thinking about, should we integrate in reward incentives for people to keep learning? Should we integrate explicitly in performance, the fact that we need people to stay open towards learning and make it part of our values? You know, today we don't have that in our values, but maybe tomorrow we should have, that it is a fundamental value for us as a company that, you know, unless you're open to continuously learn and to challenge and to understand that what we do today may be irrelevant tomorrow, you know, unless you have that value, it may not be the right fit. But this is the journey that we have taken as a company. I've given it to you in a very condensed 15-minute presentation. But it is a very real, essential element of securing that we have a legacy for the next 125 years to go forward with, given the transition that our industry is in. So I wanted to share this with you and look forward to the questions later on. Thank you very much.